Okay, welcome. This is our Design 350 lecture for Tuesday the 28th. It's 11 o'clock, and I do have the recording on. So we're going to take a look at what's up for this week, and then I'm going to demonstrate part of the Revit stuff. We're actually going to use Revit. So here I'm listing just AutoCAD, but we're going to do AutoCAD and Revit. I better add that in there. Welcome in. Just getting started here. So here's what we've got for Design 350 Week 6. We're going to talk about rental agreements, crime-free multi-housing, and multi-station surveys. And then we're also going to practice with the simulation about using some more, getting back into the XYZ stuff. So let's take a look at what some of that is. For our land planning portion of the class, we're just going to look at rental agreements, what you can do, what you can't do. This is really important in developments where people go, yeah, and I'm going to get a rental house and do this and do that, and they really haven't understood what's involved, particularly in California. So this is important. And as you start looking at the development of a property, knowing what your client is willing or not willing to do is super, super, super important. The rental agreements are very, very important. And then for our social justice portion, there's something called crime-free multi-housing. And we're just going to look at that and see what that means. When we hear that, it seems, well, that's really cool. Of course we would want crime-free multi-housing. But it depends on how you define crime-free multi-housing as to what its nature is and how it's implemented and whether it meets fair housing, whether it affirmatively furthers fair housing or not. And then, of course, we're going to talk about multi-station surveys. That's going to be the subject of our lab on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we're not going to be using the survey equipment outside and doing stuff. So if you wish to just do the lab from home, you can, or you can come in and we'll work the problems. And then if you want to, you can go back out and do some survey. So again, we're using AutoCAD and Revit. There's all this, lecture and lab and all that kind of stuff. And I did post the recording from lab. There's a kind of a small playlist this week. Pretty much just the stuff that we've, the labs and the lectures will be on here. I might get some videos made, potentially, but you'll see it all in the lecture lab. So look at this reading list. It's not really all that big. Some of these are huge, and I just want you to just kind of go, oh, what are the topics? Or in the civil code, you'll see that's gargantuan. Okay. But you might just type something in. Like I typed in unlawful. And it comes up 29 times. And so, look, there was something about pot up there. Oh, so certain things mean that you can do things, you can't do things, and if it's an unlawful crop, and that can be, this is federal here, so I think, so I'm not sure. Unlawful detainer, unlawful. So, this is mostly about things that are unlawful for the owners to do. So that's kind of, you can't charge for key money or it's all sorts of stuff. So this is a resource for you to look at that maybe you'll do. But if you just kind of go through these are some topics. These common topics are really important. These are like really good ones. Okay, things to think about. And you may not have use of hallways in your development idea. But some of these are tenant renovations. That's a big deal. They want to do something and it has to be clearly spelled out. Can you smoke in the place? Quiet hours are a big one. Just last night, our neighbors were having a party. It's a rental. And they shut down at 9:30 because that's in their quiet hours agreement. We actually asked the landlord to put it in after people three renters ago. Um, Garbage and recycling removal. That's really important if they are not taking out their garbage, and it should specify when and how and things like that. Landlord's right to enter. That really, um, you know, you'll see you don't really, as a landlord, have a right to enter very often. But one thing that's not on here is maybe cleaning and yard service and repairs and maintenance. So there's all sorts of things in here. I actually have an acquaintance that puts in there that they must call for maintenance with of an item within like 1 week of finding out that it's not working, or they're footing the bill for it. The landlord wants to know right away and get in there. And that came because there was a mold issue because um, they didn't say that the washing machine was leaking, even though they knew it was leaking and there was mold growing. They came back in a year later and it was a disaster. So they've put in some things, but these are the 9 big ones. So that's kind of cool. Crime-free multi-housing. There's 2 that you can look at and compare and contrast. What Stockton means as crime-free multi-housing and what Tampa means as crime-free multi-housing. So under that moniker, there's 2 wildly different um, embodiments of it. And you should just know about it. And you can think about that and what your client or your developer has to think about if you're doing multi-housing, right? You may not be doing multi-housing, but if you do, that's good to know. So this is your quick reading list and to hit there. And internet access is a big deal. Okay. Um, Particularly there's always the quandary. If you are providing the internet access and it is used for some sort of nefarious use, you're not really at fault and can't really be pegged for it, for the nefarious use, but you might feel bad about it. And so you might require that they get their own internet access. Of course, depending on the situation, that might be, ooh, that's not good. But you might have the backbone for it there and make sure that they sign up for their own internet access or not. You might want to, put it on there. And then if you do, you have to be very, very clear about what monitoring you are doing of that. And you can exclude certain sites if you are providing the internet access. Um, so it's kind of hard stuff. How much does the landlord get to tell people how they want to live? And if you want a really, really interesting look at that, you can read a book called Fordlandia. And it's about Henry Ford and his little place in Brazil and he ran people's lives. He felt he had the right and the responsibility to do so because he was paying them. And he literally ran people's lives in a fairly intrusive and nefarious way. But he's looked upon by many as a hero. He was also racist as all get out, incredibly racist. He was a supporter of Hitler. So, I guess there's two sides to every coin, right? He certainly did great for many, many, many things, and then his alter ego, his Jekyll and Hyde ego, is maybe not so good. So how much intrusion do you get onto the lives of the people that are renting from you? It's different than having a guest. And so that's what this is all about. I'm going to go, I went over the multi-station surveys in lab on Wednesday or on Monday, and I'll go over it again. That's there. Here's your social justice, but this is the only, you have two discussion postings. You have your survey data and your social justice posting. So let's look at that one really quick. And that's, there are rules about how much control you get to do. And so I just want you to think a little bit about the rights and responsibilities of being a landlord and the rights and responsibilities of being a tenant as you understand them from the readings, not as you wish they were, but as you understand them from the readings. And then think about the need for the requirements to affirmatively further fair housing. That really is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a federal law that says we're supposed to try to do this. And so maybe these counteract this in some fashion. Maybe they don't agree with each other all the time. And that's what engineering and land planning and urban planning and social justice is all about. How do you do that? Not easy. If it were easy, it would have been done years and years and years and years ago, and it wouldn't be so hard right now. So I'm not suggesting that there is an answer or an easy answer, but I'm suggesting that a well-rounded person will, in the design field, especially for land planning, will be thinking about these things. And you don't have to solve all the problems. You might just do a nice thing or a good thing on the developments you work on. You might put in, a nice parking area. You might put in a community garden because you think that that's affirmatively furthering fair housing in the area that you're working in. You might put in a tiny house that has some nice marketing features that draw in people that are not otherwise able to afford rent or purchase. So all sorts of ways you can do this. I just want you to think now about what do you think? If you had the opportunity, would you be a landlord? Maybe you'll say, oh, this is way too complex. No way. Or maybe you would say, yeah, I think I would like to be a landlord if I had the opportunity. Not everybody has the opportunity. Okay, so that's that one. Now the other one to look at is, and I really want in here to have you guys pay attention, we have a drafting team that's posting stuff. Everybody who's not out there, and even these people, if you're not on the survey team, I want to see your drawings. I want you to post the drawings based on these. That's you helping the people out that are surveying understand that they can be read, and it's you making sure that you can read those drawings, read those surveys. Okay? You should be able to read this and make a survey sheet, survey record. So if you are not doing that, I'm going to need to see that on the next one. You will actually, on your executive summer, I want to see that you've done it, and And it will be a reduction of points next time because it's really important. Okay. A survey is collaborative and you need to be able to get on it. Okay. So what I'm going to let's also look at your template for this week. So there we go. That one's got to be on there, or you'll get a reduction in points. Okay. Just want to see a concept map. Create a concept map, and it doesn't have to be deep, right? It's rental housing in the middle and 4 things about these. If you want to do one more level on, you may, but we'll be doing that next week. So you should have just the basics. One item. Oh, add one item to each of the 4 topics. So you'll have your main topic, rental housing, your 4 topics, and one item on each topic. Okay, so very simple concept map. So you're going to have a simulation and you're going to create a 3D drawing from it. I want to see an image of the sim and your survey record, and I want to see your CAD drawing with 3D points. Now, I'm going to demonstrate that in Revit, and I'm going to do that today. Okay, and then I want to see your multi-station survey review, survey record, and the drawing. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting this week. Next week we'll do a little bit more tightening up of all this. We've got one more survey to do, and then in week 8 I'm going to give you sort of a midterm where I'll give you readings to make and I'll give you all sorts of stuff. You don't have to be on site for it, but it'll be your chance to go ahead and get that done. Okay, so I've got a cool way to do that. It's going to be neato. There we go. Any questions yet before we jump into Revit and how to make this from the simulation? You're actually going to go into the simulation and make that. Any questions so far? Okay, well, let's take a look. This is the simulation, and I've placed all these rods. I just walked around and placed all these rods. And I can go and I can get a snip of that. And that's what's going to go into your image of the sim. So there's, as an example, an image of the sim. Okay, so that's not too hard to do. You go into the simulator. W makes you walk forward. S makes you walk backwards. If I want to go to the right, I can move my mouse. Wherever I move my mouse is where I start walking forward. I can also shift straight sideways. That's A. Shift straight sideways. That's D. Okay, if I want to place a rod, I just look at the ground, press Control, and wherever that is, I left click, bank, and I have a rod, and I can read it when I'm close to it. There I'm far away. I get close, I can read it. So that's the XYZ position of that rod. Now, where do you want to put stuff? Okay. So I can move around all over the place. I definitely want to move along the edge and find places where my property turns, right? That's like putting that donut everywhere. So I just walked around this property And wherever I saw that the wall had a little line in it, I put a rod. So I first made one all the way around, and I just placed rods everywhere as I went all the way around. Okay. Sometimes you get stuck, you have to go back the other way. Okay. The other thing I did is I found all these little high points. And I put these in here. Now, I got to tell you, you don't have to do this all in one sitting. If you come back and you've done all the outside points or some of the outside points, the points don't change place. So you do not have to get this all done in one sim. You can come back in here and go, oh, I need to come back and put a point right there. So that was the other thing I did. I just started walking around and I found high points. And I put them there. Just found little high points. And I found low points. And I found where high points came down to meet a low point. I just kind of looked around. And I just put in a whole bunch of extra ones where I thought they might do some good. Then I had to walk around and I had to get all of these things. And I'm going to, if you're on there, you can see there's my list. I just wrote them all down. I just walked around. I wrote them all down. I wrote down every point that I went to. Every single point. I put a rod. I went and found the XYZ and I wrote them down. Took me about 25 minutes this morning to do all that. Okay, took me 25 minutes in the sim, and I'm pretty good at it now. I use my WASD keys. Remember, W is forward, S is backwards. I can move my mouse around. I can move myself sideways. Look at different things. I can press Control to put a rod right in there. There's that one. Those ones are too close to each other. They're not recording on each other. Sometimes they do. They get so close to each other that the readings don't really mean anything or work for you. Okay, so I did all that and I wrote them down. And then I put a copy of the sim right here. And then I just typed them all in. Typed XYZ. And I did my perimeter ones. And then I did my interior ones. And I noticed that as I'm typing, if I hit tab, it just goes to the next one. And then if I hit enter, it went to my next one. Tab, 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 enter. Tab, 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 enter. So I got good. I just started reading them off. Tab, 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 enter. Tab, 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 enter. And I think I got them pretty well right. I could go back and really double check. These are just all the readings that I wrote down. X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z. And when I did that, once I was done, I know that Revit will read this and make a surface for me. It'll make me a topography. I need to put this data, which is my record. It's sim week 6 in feet. And here's the sim that I used. Okay. And here's a picture of me in the sim so that people will know what's going on. Okay, so I need to copy that data and put it in another file that Revit can read. Here's my another file. And I had to play around with it a little bit. Let me show you why. If I do right click, paste special of values, let me get in there, and I was in the middle of a command. Control C, right click, paste special values. See, they don't quite line up. So I got these extra columns. Right click, delete those columns, right click, delete the column. And then I don't want this extra row. Select, right click, delete the row. This file now is in perfect shape. And I could save that now. Points for Revit file. And I'm going to import those, and Revit will do the job. Is that not the coolest thing ever? Okay, so I've saved this. I don't need this because I've already done it. Here it is, right here. And I've even got it right here. I've got my survey notes, and I have my points for my Revit file. So I have those two things. And over in VMware, I've got my points for Revit file. So here I am in VMware. I'm going to close this all up and show you how to do it from scratch. So here's my points from Revit file that I've got in VMware or on your computer or wherever. I work in VMware. Here we go. And I want that to be a CSV. So File, Download as, CSV stands for comma, separated values. And that's what Revit will read. So I'm going to download that. And I'm going to put it somewhere where it can be found. So I put it in my U drive. Okay, so there's that file I just made, and it's in the right format. There's no XYZ, nothing like that at the top. No XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Just right in there. Okay, so now I'm going to close that down, and I'm going to open up Revit, and I'm going to make a new file, new model. There it goes. And just because it's a simpler template, I'm going to use the Imperial Architectural Template. It's the easiest one to work with. And I'm going to look at my site plan. And I think a scale of 1 to 20 ought to be good. Because that thing was about maybe 100, 200 feet long, maybe 300. But that won't be too big then. 1 inch equals 20 feet. If it's 100, it'll be 5 inches long, 200, so on and so forth. Okay? So now, how do I make that thing? I go to Site, Massing and Site. That's a ribbon. And I'm going to create a topo surface. Click, Create Import, Create from Import, and then I need to specify which file I want to use. Click, and there it is. And I have it set for CSV. And I'm going to open it. And yeah, I'm in feet, because that's what my Unity was measuring. There it is. Ha ha, it's right there. That is so cool. I can just hit my green check mark. And then I think I want to move this one out of the way. That's just a elevation view marker where you're viewing from. And I'm going to make those hidden. Hide and view that category. There we go. So that's my site plan. Wow. Let me look at it in 3D. This is being recorded. Yes, indeed. There it is in 3D. Shift and hold the wheel down lets me spin in 3D. Now, there's a few things I want to do here in 3D before I do any more. I'm going to highlight my level markers, and I'm going to right click and maximize them to the extent. So, yeah. And then I'm going to hide them. Okay. Isn't that cool? That's it right there. That's it. There is so much to do with this now. So much to do with this. You can see it pretty much. I think I pretty much nailed it. I think I might be missing. I might not have put in. I think there's another little bump in here somewhere that maybe I didn't get all the points for. No, here it is right over here. Here's my other little bump. Right? And here's how it comes down to the middle and up over here. No, I got that nailed. Now I'm going to show you a few. So that's really what we're supposed to do. Okay, but I want to do one extra thing just to move on a little bit. I'm going to go back to level 1. And I'm going to make a copy of it, duplicate my view. I always do this in a duplicate view. And I'm going to call this my property lines. Now, unfortunately, I don't see anything here. First of all, I'm going to get the thing to 1 equals 20 like the other one was. And I can't see anything because level 1 is like only from 0 to 8 feet. And my property is too big. So, but I might see part of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at the visibility and graphics in this view and see if I can see topo lines. Oh, they're turned off. Let me turn on topo lines in this view. And I see some of them, but some of them are earth, which means that there's a cut plane there. When I can see this true and this not true, it means there is a cut plane. I'm cutting it off. Let's go down, look at my view depth, view range, edit. So my top should be unlimited above. I want to see unlimited above. And I want my cut plane to be tall. And I don't remember what my highest point is, but I'll just put 50 feet just for fun. There we go. I got the whole thing. And again, I'm going to hide these. Oops, I should have done the hide and view category. Now, to put property lines in, I want this to look much lighter. So if I click on it, right click, and override the graphics, I can say make it half tone. That's cool. Oh, that looks good. And I might even be able to make them lighter, but I think that that'll do. Now I can just barely see them. And I can make them even lighter still. Now, to do property lines, I could draw them exact from AutoCAD, and I'm going to show you how to do that at another time. But for right now, you'll get very close by sketching it. And you're just going to get in here as close as you can and sketch these property lines. I think another one might come in here. Hard to tell where the property lines change sometimes. So here I go. I'm just drawing my property lines, taking my time. And for us, this isn't like legal survey or whatever, but it'll be good for our layout later on. And remember, this is for a proposal, a land planning proposal of some sort. So I just need to get kind of a good idea of. And I can see that I didn't do so well here. I'm going to get rid of that one and see if I can hit this one a little bit better. That looks better. So now I have a property line, but it doesn't jump out enough. So if I right click and override the graphics, I can make it like a darker color and a heavier line weight, maybe an 8 or a 9. I don't know. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Isn't that cool? So there we go. And what's awesome now is I can annotate it, tag it by category. Oops, there isn't one. So let me go find annotations. Civil. Nope. Oh yeah, property line tag. Kind of cool, huh? There we go. And then if I select a bunch of those all at once, I can get rid of the leader line because most of the times there's no leader line. And I can move that down into place. You can do all that as you work. But look at how nice. They're all lined up nicely. Everything looks really good. And I can change that tag. I can see that this property was laid out just to degrees, right? Because, oh no, here's one that's not just to degrees. There we go. And then the last cool thing that you can do that is so neat is now I'm going to check and see how this is set. This is set for 1 inch increments. Okay. Often they're set for, 1 foot increments. So let me try that. That's far more common than 1 inch. And you can adjust it as you wish, but look at, you can put your contour labels on here now. And that's really enough, but some places would run one down there too. Those would normally be done on a different drawing though. But there you go. You've got it. You got your property lines that quick. So that's what I'm looking for. So I would take a snip of this. And get that in there. And I would take this and I would take a snip of, and I had to add rows here to get these in there. But I think you all know how to add rows to a file. So this is the type of thing that I'm looking for. And as you can see, um, if you're familiar with it, it doesn't take too long. Okay, so that's not too bad. And you could even, if you wanted to, get a little bit of this in here and a little bit of this one. And you can even maybe do maybe some shaded, something like that. Probably something like that. And if you wanted to, you could even render it. Where's my view? I know. It should be, there it is. View, render this view. I'll just do a quick draft of it. Ooh, not good. Doesn't look good. Oh, another cool thing you might do is go back to your site plan and put a camera view over here. And my camera view is too low. So I'll bring my target up to like 35 feet and my target elevation of 10. Let's see what that looks like. There I am. I'm looking out over it. And I could put sky in the background and all sorts of stuff. I mean, you could do stuff like that. Maybe I'll take a snip of that just for fun. Anything that you do here, just have some fun with it. You've just made a 3D. There we go. And all that other good stuff that you do. So that's it. That's how to do your sim this week. And we'll progress through the simulations all the way to a built house. You survey the land, you survey the pad, and then you survey the built house to see if it got done right. Cool? Any questions?
I think it's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna have to look back at the video on a couple little things, but just to refresh my memory on how to get to a certain thing, but it
Okay,
looks pretty straightforward.
cool. There we go. Then I will turn off the recording.